One of the questions that was asked is what type of stories have inspired my writing? And I would say that one particular story that really captivated me is actually a film preview in the late 70s for a movie called Time After Time. It was originally based on a book, which I only recently found out. They were doing a reboot TV series based on the book and movie just last year. But the original preview is extremely compelling for me. It A man comes out and he's talking to someone of authority, and he says, "My name is H.G. Wells. I came here in a time machine of my own construction. I'm pursuing Jack the Ripper, who escaped here in my machine." In three quick sentences, they have set up an incredibly exciting, fantastic, fantasy science fiction concept that just blows my mind. Now, that has been ever since, or maybe before that, that has been the type of story that I want to write. I want to write something that is completely over the top, with a crazy idea such as H.G. Wells creating his own time machine. That's insane. Of course, that wouldn't happen, and we all know that. But in fiction, it's a lot of fun to believe that that could happen. We know H.G. Wells is real. We know Jack the Ripper is real. We know they both were, in England around the same time. So it feels as if these elements of real world situations and these completely over the top situations, such as a time machine and H.G. Wells getting into a battle with Jack the Ripper, those things are just so over the top and crazy, but intertwined with the things we know are real, that it feels like it could happen in a fiction story. In real life, no. But in fiction, it's got enough reality that we can enjoy escaping into that crazy situation and just have a lot of fun with it. Those are the kind of stories that really compel me. And in fact, I'm very blessed to have landed on this idea of the Red Rider, because it takes that. It's the kind of story that I've always wanted to be able to write, but I never thought I would. Um, I've always loved the idea of characters like Zorro or the Scarlet Pimpernel or Robin Hood, legendary heroes whose stories are set either in contemporary times or in the past, and have that feeling of reality, and yet they're doing over the top action and scenarios. Zorro and Scarlet Pimpernel are acting like some sort of superheroes. Uh, Robin Hood in a similar way, but he's an outlaw who can shoot a bow and arrow like no one else in the world can. And we want that. At least I want that. I want those larger than life heroes and villains who are doing just crazy comic book like adventures, and yet I want to see them grounded in reality of the emotions that we all deal with every day: fear, loneliness, ambition, jealousy, competition with other people, betrayal, revenge, all those things. We understand those emotional things, and that's where I ground uh, characters in reality the most. But as far as the action, I want a crazy superhero, big explosion type of adventure that I can escape into. And so those are the type of stories I write, the kind of stories that I would love to read myself. So I pack a lot of action into stories, and the Red Rider, since it's based on Little Red Riding Hood, it has a sense of familiarity to it, as if we already know the character, and yet it's a new character, but it feels as if we might have known her for a long time. It's similar to when Indiana Jones was first on the screen in Raiders of the Lost Ark. The hero was so familiar in a sense of being this cliffhanger hero from the 1930s serials, that classic adventure that you would have read about in, you know, some stories like Doc Savage, or classic adventures like Treasure Island or King Solomon's Mines. And then we see him on the screen, and it feels as if we've known him forever, that he's actually been around since World War II. Those are the things that compel me, and I'm thrilled to have been able to write something like that with the Red Rider, you know, being set in a fairy tale time period from the past where it feels as if she could have existed, even though she doesn't. And it feels as if we know the character, even though she's a brand new character. So I love being able to intertwine reality and fantasy in that way. And Time After Time is the story that really, really stood out as an example of that to me, and really compelled me from an early age of the type of stories I wanted to write and share with people.